In the quiet corners of her home, nestled at the end of a small tree-lined street, lived Mrs. Mai, a 68-year-old woman with gentle eyes and a kind smile. Life had slowed down over the years, and she welcomed the stillness that came with age. But there were days when she felt the weight of her changing body. She would find herself waking up with less energy than before, her joints a little stiffer, her appetite a little weaker. Meals, once a joyful gathering of flavors, had become more of a task than a delight. Her children lived far away now, and most days she cooked for one. Standing in front of the refrigerator, she often wondered what to make, not out of indecision, but from a deep desire to eat something that truly nourished her, something gentle, easy, and kind to her aging body. It was after a routine health checkup that her doctor gave her a bit of advice that lingered in her mind. You don't need a complicated diet, Mrs. Mack. You just need a few smart changes in your kitchen. What you keep in your cupboards can shape your health in ways you wouldn't believe. Those words planted a seed. That evening, she stood in her kitchen, softly lit by the golden hour sun, and began looking at everything she had with new eyes. What if, she thought, my little kitchen could be my medicine cabinet? She started with the pantry, replacing her usual white rice with brown rice and quinoa. She bought oats in bulk and learned to toast them lightly for her morning porridge. She discovered that these grains, so humble and quiet, were filled with fibers and nutrients her body craved. They digested slowly, gave her energy through the day, and kept her full without that heavy, sluggish feeling she used to get. On a small wooden shelf, she arranged cans of salmon and sardines, rich in omega-3s, good for her heart and mind, and stacked jars of chickpeas and black beans. She felt comfort knowing they were always there, ready to be turned into something nourishing with just a little heat and a pinch of salt. Her freezer, once filled with forgotten leftovers, slowly became a treasure chest. She had read somewhere that frozen vegetables, when picked and frozen at their peak, retained nearly as many nutrients as fresh ones. So she began to stock up on bags of spinach, carrots, peas, and blueberries. They made cooking simple. A handful of spinach in her soup, a sprinkle of frozen berries in her yogurt, or a quick vegetable stir-fry with just a spoon of olive oil. She didn't need to run to the market every other day. Everything was within reach. The refrigerator became her quiet assistant. She always had a few eggs, a small carton of almond milk, and a container of plain yogurt tucked inside. In the morning, she might boil an egg and slice some cucumber. In the afternoon, she'd mix yogurt with a little ground flaxseed and a slice of banana. Gentle on the stomach, good for the bones. She didn't count calories or follow complicated rules. She simply listened to her body and treated it with care. On Sundays, when the light through the kitchen window was just right, she would make a big pot of soup. Lentils, carrots, garlic, a few handfuls of leafy greens. Sometimes she added turmeric or ginger for warmth. She'd let it simmer slowly while she listened to her favorite radio program. Then she'd portion it into small containers, label them with little sticky notes, and store them in the freezer. On nights when she didn't feel like cooking, she'd reheat a bowl and sit by the window, watching the sky change color as the sun dipped below the trees. That bowl of soup was more than a meal. It was comfort, memory, and love. She also invested in a small slow cooker, a gift to herself. In the mornings, she'd put in sweet potatoes, lentils, a piece of chicken or tofu, and by evening, the house would be filled with the aroma of a home-cooked meal. No rush, no stress, just the quiet joy of food cooking itself while she read a book or wrote in her journal. Eating became a soft rhythm. She didn't chase perfection. Some days she had toast and tea for dinner, and that was okay. But most days she found joy in the small things. A sliced apple with walnuts in the afternoon, a warm bowl of oats with cinnamon in the morning, a cup of chamomile tea before bed. These little rituals gave her a sense of balance. She slept better, her digestion improved, her walks became easier, and maybe most importantly, she began to smile more. Not because life had become easier, but because she felt more at peace with herself. One afternoon, a neighbor stopped by, a young woman who had just lost her mother. They sat together in the kitchen, sipping tea, and the woman asked, "How did you manage to stay so calm so well?" Mrs. Mai looked at her with warmth and said, "It starts in the kitchen. I feed my body like I would a child, with patience and love. Everything else follows. And so, her kitchen, once a quiet and lonely place, became her sanctuary, a space of healing, simplicity, and grace. She didn't need expensive supplements or fancy diets, just a little planning, a little gentleness, and the wisdom to know that aging isn't about resisting change. It's about embracing kindness. Maybe that's the real secret. That health in our later years doesn't come from doing more, but from doing less with more meaning. From choosing foods that care for us rather than burden us. From finding joy in the ordinary, a soft-boiled egg, a ripe banana, a spoonful of warm soup. Mrs. Mai still stands by her window each evening, holding a small bowl of something to eat, looking out at the world with a quiet sense of contentment. Her body may be older, but her spirit feels nourished. And it all began, not with a grand change, but with one small choice.